is in the dressing room. I want you to obey the commands, protect yourselves at all times. Right now, over here, we're going to call everything under the letters. Over here, we're going to call everything under the letters, okay? Tap it up, let's go.
Felix Diaz pulls the upset off tonight. Might be the biggest win in the history of Dominican professional boxing. Terence Crawford is as special as he is, Roy, you mentioned it, because he's next level competitive. He's one of the most competitive athletes in the world. There are stories about Michael Jordan, how he wanted to beat you at everything. That remind you of Terence Crawford at everything. He doesn't want to lose at everything, and he turns everything into a competition.
And you see he starts out southpaw already because he's fighting a southpaw, so you knew he want to come out and show the southpaw that he could beat him as a southpaw. That's that competitive spirit that you're speaking about, Matt.
So tonight there's no switch, unless at some point he switches into a conventional stance. But he has started out in the southpaw stance where he has seemed to be most effective over the course of the last 8, 10, 12 fights. We've been covering him here on HBO. And in this stance, Roy Jones, long jab, very stiff, hard right jab, pretty good little left hook to the body down there, but most especially the right hook upstairs, and that jab and uppercuts with the right hand. All those things, tremendous weapons for him in this stance.
Yeah, and what you like about Terence Crawford is you see already tonight that he's utilizing a jab because he's fighting a shorter opponent. So he turns southpaw right away, and he's utilizing that beautiful jab to keep the opponent at bay.
His competitiveness, Crawford's competitiveness, can come out in the ring as sadistic. You know, he's one of the few fighters, Roy, you think of a guy like Roberto Duran with a very different style, the great lightweight and welterweight champ, who enjoyed inflicting punishment. And Crawford, as nice as he is out of the ring, like Triple G, and friendly as he is and approachable with fans, seems to enjoy punishing his opponent.
I mean, it's the sport of boxing. That's what most real boxers should want to do.
Most are very much like the guy with whom he competed in 2014 for Fighter of the Year honors, Sergey Kovalev. They're both sinister in the way that they attack opponents in the ring. Terence Crawford fought 25 rounds in 2016 against 3 different opponents: Hank Lundy, Victor Postol, John Molina. He might have won all 25 of the rounds.
Diaz caught him with a couple right hooks, not much on them, but showed Crawford he could touch him upstairs.
Now Diaz manages to get inside Crawford's arms just a little bit. Crawford steps away, goes back to firing that jab.
Watch your heads. Right, step back. Watch your head. Watch your head.
But Diaz knows one thing. He knows that he has to get close in order to have any possibilities of landing anything big. He's not going to beat Terence Crawford from the outside. And Terence Crawford is doing a good thing of letting him know that by keeping that jab on him and making him stay at a distance.
See the CompuBox graphic at the bottom showing you that Crawford has already tripled the number of landed punches for Diaz in the round.
Need a bucket with water. Nice work. Just keep working like that. I saw you throwing that jab. We're working on just throw it now, but give me the second hook longer a little bit. Because he's keeping that hand right here. All right. Nice. Keep working that jab. Keep working that jab.
When you got to get on the inside, you got to work. Don't just go in and take the punches. Bitch, come on, man. He's got the jab. Take that jab away. Come on, let's go.
Roy Jones, you mentioned how Crawford was using the jab early against a shorter fighter. He wound up throwing 49 jabs in the round, landing 10, somewhat reminiscent of the night that we saw Gennady Golovkin come in and throw 52 jabs in the first round against David Lemieux. But this is putting an emphasis where the emphasis belongs.
That's exactly right, and that's guys who know how to make those adjustments right on the fly. They know who to do what against. This is what you like about top pound-for-pound fighters. They know how to make changes and make things happen.
Diaz caught him with an overhand left.
No.
And he caught Diaz with an overhand left as well.
Steve Willis rules no knockdown, saying that Diaz was tripped as he went down. It was interesting to see Diaz land that left hand because Crawford has become such a tremendously effective offensive fighter, it almost obscures the fact that he's a brilliant defender. The first time we saw him in a brilliant defensive performance against the dangerous Bradis Prescott of Colombia, that's really the night that he stepped forward toward prominence in the sport.
Yep, and he just landed a beautiful left hand on Diaz again.
He did, and Crawford is usually hit earlier in a fight a little more cleanly. Class tells over time in the fight game especially, and Crawford is one of those guys who studies his opponent. He'll have success early, but his opponent can sometimes also have some success early as Crawford's figuring him out, and then as the rounds pass, the difference in class tells.
Work your way out. Work your way out. Don't hold that. Break.
Crawford accumulates small advantages and notices weaknesses and exploits them.
Notice that he tied Diaz up and carefully managed him along the ropes there rather than to get into a situation where Diaz could hammer his body.
Yeah, why would you do that with a guy that's shorter than you? You know, his punching power is close at close quarters, so you give him what you want to give him, and you tie him up once he gets in his area to unleash. Don't allow him to unleash.
Diaz's eyes already swelling up a little bit.
Good lateral movement by Crawford.
Goes back to working the jab. He's already thrown 73 of them in the first couple of rounds.
Hey, side, stop holding, bud. Stay off that hold.
The Diaz has a little mouth under that right eye from that left hand right there.
When Crawford is in the far right corner, as you look at the ring in this angle, the far right corner over by the ring post, when he's in that area, he's working right in front of his mother, who is sitting in one of the front rows. She's by far his biggest fan and his most demonstrative cheerleader. And I assure you, he would love to knock out Diaz in that corner.
Oh, Diaz with another good little right hook on the
inside. He got in a good one. Diaz showing his rambunctiousness in round two. Crawford disciplines him a little bit. They jaw with each other at the end of the round. June 17, it's the highly anticipated rematch between Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev. In November, Ward won a controversial decision to take the light heavyweight championship. Now they meet again live on HBO pay-per-view. And if you want to learn more about Ward and Kovalev before their big fights, a big fight I should say, including their takes on what happened in the first fight, tune in to 24/7, premiering June 2.
I want to pick up 2 rounds, pick up a little bit, all right?
Here you see Crawford land a beautiful straight left hand over the top of Diaz's jab, right on the chin. Doesn't get any better than that. Then Diaz bounces back though. He's not giving up. He leads with his right hook off of Crawford's jab. Lands a beautiful right hook high on the jaw of Terence Crawford. Great exchanges by both fighters.
Tracy Morgan seated at ringside, looking good, by the way, seemingly back in perfect health. And it was great to see Tracy sitting very close to Jerry Cooney on that side of the ring tonight.
Crawford very much the kind of fighter with a mentality where when Diaz has a little success, we were talking about Crawford's competitiveness earlier, Crawford wants to take the play right away, right at that moment, and it should lead to continuing exchanges and a higher rate of more kind of intense exchanges as the fight progresses.
Crawford putting a little bit of extra oomph on the jab here in round number 3.
Diaz landing that right hook much more regularly than we've seen a fighter land a lead shot in the past.
Against Crawford.
Against Crawford.
Yeah, but you don't often see Crawford in the left-hand stance right away with guys because he usually starts out as an orthodox fighter. Then he turns southpaw, so they can't hit him with that lead right hook because he usually waits, fills him out, then he turns around. But with Diaz being a gold medalist as a southpaw, you knew he was going to want to come out and show that not only can I beat you, but I can beat you at your own game. Oh, good
Good
jab.
right hand. Right up the middle from Crawford.
Diaz got in another quick right hook.
Oh, good shot by
Hard right hand by Crawford.
See, Crawford's already made the adjustment where he's timing Diaz's right hook and countering with 1-2s, knowing that Diaz will be vulnerable to them and his weight will be forward.
Hard body shot by Crawford with the left hand. Now he throws that left hand upstairs and lands it. Crawford's accuracy going up now here in round number 3.
making Diaz pay the price for coming inside.
And for talking to him at the end of the last round.
Work your way out. Work your way out.
These are two big junior welterweights. I mean, you saw the unofficial weight today, basically each 160 pounds. That's a middleweight because of the day before weigh-ins nowadays. Fighters have a full day to rehydrate, and so here we have a middleweight fight contested for a junior welterweight belt.
Honestly,
Helps to make boxing one of the most confusing sports imaginable.
honestly, Diaz is a super middleweight. He's 161. He's over the middleweight limit.
Yep.
Uppercuts with both hands by Crawford. There's another one. Just missing over the top with the left hand. Another right hand uppercut on the chin by Terence Crawford.
Well, it's that time of the fight where Crawford figures his guy out and starts to really go to work.
Sit. Let's go. No, I don't want it.
I need to work this.
Felix, you're not doing anything. Felix, you gotta work, son. You're only going in, man, you're catching all his punches. Come on, man. You're taking all his punches. You're not working. We're not doing anything. You're letting him come in. You're letting him build. Don't let him build, bitch. Be explosive.
He see Crawford counter with a straight left, followed by a beautiful right hook, and because he's so tall and elusive, he slips the right hook coming back at him. Take that with you while I'm gone.
Brilliant.
That's boxing.
Swelling around the right eye of Felix Diaz as we arrive at round number 5, and Terence Crawford is gradually amping up the accuracy and throwing harder shots. Let's take a look at what's happened in the first 3 rounds in the eyes of our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman. Harold?
Okay, Jim. I got a 3-0, 30-27. Terence Crawford.
No, stop.
Jim, Felix Diaz.
No.
Let's see what the referee has to say.
When you hold him like that, that's going to happen. You know what I mean? When you hold him like that, it's going to happen like that. All right? Look.
Okay, Felix Diaz is standing in the middle of the ring, getting the crap kicked out of himself. I mean, he's got to start fighting. The guy in his corner at the end of round 2 that said you got to start working was telling him the honest to God's truth. He's got to start working. He can't stand there like this and let Crawford jab him to death with the right jab and then whack him with a hard straight left hand. I mean, Crawford's moving nicely, landed all the good shots. It sort of reminds me of the Molina fight again. 3-0, Terence Crawford.
And you probably noticed in Diaz's corner that his trainer is Joel Diaz, who made his name for a long time as the trainer of Timothy Bradley, operates out of the desert in California, out near Indio. And Joel, along with his brother Antonio Diaz, have been preparing Felix Diaz for this fight.
Saw Steve Willis, the referee, earlier warn Diaz for jumping in with his head, which he clearly did intentionally, but an experienced ref also told Crawford, when you hold him like that, that's going to happen.
Good hook by Diaz. The only thing Diaz is not really doing that would help him a little bit more is he's not using a jab, and that's what Terence Crawford is doing, which is enabling Crawford to keep control of the fight.
Well, that's good defense by Crawford on the inside, Roy, slipping those shots.
See that jab right there?
Putting himself in the position where Diaz really can't land shots even on the inside.
Another perfect uppercut by Crawford with the left hand. Got oohs and ahs from the crowd.
That jab is keeping Diaz fighting behind Crawford, though. If you notice, everything that Diaz does is after Crawford does something like that.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because of that jab.
But then Crawford slips the uppercut and the hook on the inside. Diaz is actually having his best success timing Crawford from middle distance.
Work out.
Not really landing much once they're inside.
But he's paying a price to get inside. And that's what's killing like that right there. That's what's really hurting Diaz the most.
Work your way out. Good.
When Diaz was looking good in the late rounds against Lamont Peterson, it was in a phone booth fight. He needs to get, as Harold Letterman suggested, he needs to get up into Crawford's chest and get inside his arms to have a chance to really do damage in the fight. As long as Crawford can stand back here at arm's length, he's simply too good, too quick, too skilled for Felix Diaz. And there is the Crawford family in the front row. None of those was Mom, but she's over there.
Now that head's got to come up somewhere. So just protect yourself. No. Just protect yourself.
Hey, make sure your defense is tight after your offense, okay? Hey, he's slowing down now because I see you. He's stopping every move, okay? I need a little bit more better timing with your speed, okay? To take that little half a step back when he come in and try to come over top or come with the hook or something. But stay low, all right? Good job, fucking good job.
I want you to start working on that hook. Remember that hook we practiced? With the right hook. I want you to start working on it. He started dropping that hand, so I want you to look.
Here you see as Diaz tries to walk into Crawford. Crawford just leans back and throws a beautiful left uppercut right up the middle. Perfectly timed punch.
Even when Diaz lands some of the kind of more noticeable punches as he times them coming in, and the sweat flies from Crawford. Crawford's actually usually riding some of that shot back, and Diaz doesn't have his weight behind it. Crawford lands some vicious short shots on the inside.
Crawford, alone among top 10 pound-for-pound fighters, has 2 trainers in his corner. They are co-trainers. He sees them as equal. Esau Diaz and Brian McIntyre. He spent time listening to both of them during the between rounds period coming off of round 4.
Good right hand jab, followed by, counter over the top of Diaz's jab by Crawford.
I think Roberto Duran had co-trainers for a long period at the peak of his career, but outside of him, Roy Jones, I can't think of another top fighter who brought 2 of them into the ring and treated them as equals.
No, not many people can do that because most people have one trainer and most trainers have egos. They don't really want to work with a second trainer, so it's kind of difficult for that to happen.
Both Esau Diaz and Brian McIntyre, Crawford's trainers, are relatively ego-free. They don't really care much about who gets the credit. They want him to win.
Good hook head, hook body by Crawford. And this is why you have to have a jab as a little man. If he were jabbing, it would at least force Crawford to try to keep his hands a little bit. But because he doesn't jab, Crawford just picking him apart. See right there, he just got his hands up walking forward. You're never going to get to Crawford like that. Got to have a jab.
Yeah, if he slipped and jabbed on his way in the way Mike Tyson used to do on the way up, given his kind of short, stocky frame and quick hands, by the way, he'd be doing better.
And I know a lot of guys may not know this name, but one of the best short jabbers ever was a guy by the name of Dwight Muhammad Qawi. He's just the best short jabber in the history of the game to me. Shorter than most guys and could out-jab anybody. Good left hand by Crawford.
Dwight Muhammad Qawi, who was among that group of light heavyweights who provided tremendous excitement throughout the 1980s and climaxed his career with an unbelievable battle against Evander Holyfield in one of the last truly great 15-round fights.
The last great 15-round fight.
And I mean a great 15-round fight.
July 12th, 1986.
That's when you realize that Evander Holyfield truly was the real deal.
But when you watch Crawford, the reason a lot of these fighters come to mind, though we were talking about Diaz in comparison just then, is because he's special. And Diaz is a really good fighter, and Crawford here has won every round apparently, and by increasingly wide margins.
Terence Crawford is awfully good for a guy who did not make an Olympic team. Shakur Stevenson was the star of the American Olympic team in Rio this past year, and earlier this evening here in the Garden, Stevenson had his second professional fight appearance, fighting just across the river from his hometown in Newark, New Jersey. He scored a first-round knockout against an ill-equipped opponent, a showcase appearance for Shakur Stevenson. He's now 2-0, has a brilliant smile, has a pretty sharp straight left hand. And then in the preliminary bout just prior to this one, Ray Beltran, after an odd first round in which he went down on a headbutt, produced that brilliant left hook that knocked Jonathan Maciello cold, and Maciello was taken out of the ring on a gurney with his head secured after his head hit the canvas hard when he went down off the Beltran knockout. Ray Beltran with his 4th straight knockout win as he pursues a lightweight title.
Very impressive knockout.
And by the way, we've just been told that Jonathan Maciello has been checked into the emergency room, the trauma center at Bellevue Hospital, and we will await further updates from the doctors as to his condition. Crawford slips a punch and fires back 4 in return.
But he's looking so comfortable right now, Jim. He's having everything his way, doing anything he wants to do, landing the uppercut coming in, making Diaz pay the price for everything, every mistake he makes. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that, Jim.
Yep, pretty typical of a Terence Crawford fight in round 6. It's target practice. He's selecting his punches as though looking at the menu and ordering a la carte. He's utterly relaxed while he does it.
Listen, he's, and by the way, Diaz taking some of these shots upstairs really well. Crawford landed a right hook to the body about 30 seconds ago. Might be a good idea for him to concentrate down there for a couple rounds, see if he can't get Diaz out of here.
Crawford inviting Diaz to come closer, toying with him now, humiliating Diaz by making clear to him that he's unwilling to come into the area where he might be able to do any damage whatsoever. Crawford is, among other things, a master psychologist in there, Roy.
Yes, he is. Very masterful psychologist, knows how to play games, to make guys make stupid mistakes, and then he capitalizes once he gets them to do that.
And when I said sadistic earlier, I mean, he's a mean guy in there.
100%.
I brought up Roberto Duran. Pernell Whitaker was another one of these all-time great lightweights. Had mean streaks in the ring. Won a knockout puncher in Duran. Obviously, Pernell Whitaker wasn't, but was just as mean. Liked beating the other guy up. Roy, you say that that's what you're supposed to do as a great prize fighter, but I remember instances of you waving the referee in so you wouldn't have to hurt your opponent, and only after the ref wouldn't come in did you shrug and knock your opponent out.
Yeah, well, me and Muhammad Ali were a little bit different. We didn't have to really be that mean because we were that good, and we weren't a mean personality type guys. So it's like you have to have that mean personality, and you're right. Terence Crawford does have that mean streak that Roberto Duran possessed. Sugar Ray Leonard was like me and Muhammad Ali. We didn't have, well, Sugar Ray was kind of mean, though, but only when we needed.
When you needed it. Yeah. He's mean all the time
right
there,
that's the difference.
Crawford.
That's the difference.
Sugar Ray Leonard, despite the beautiful smile, had a serious mean streak.
You better believe
and it was very effective for him in the ring.
You better believe it. But only when he needed it.
Ask Dave Green. Dave Boy Green with that left hook.
Yep.
Ask Donnie Lalonde, who let his head come up too high and got hit right in the throat.
Oh, good enough.
July 15, Boxing After Dark returns with a triple header. Our main event features Miguel Berchelt against Takashi Miura. Also that night, Jezreel Corrales goes up against Robinson Castellanos. Castellanos coming off a big knockout win over Yuriorkis Gamboa. And Bernard Hopkins, conqueror Joe Smith Jr. faces Sullivan Barrera. Joe Smith Jr., the construction worker puncher from out on Long Island, against Barrera. 2 months later, it's the biggest fight the sport can make. Canelo Alvarez against Triple G Gennady Golovkin. That's coming September 16, and it will be seen only on HBO pay-per-view.
You're reserving too much. You're reserving yourself too much. What happened? Did he hurt you? No. So why don't you work? Come on. What happened? Let's go. Let's go, bastard. He's playing with you.
Joel Diaz trying to motivate Felix Diaz. It's really interesting in our 4 questions feature before the fight that Felix Diaz gave that more or less standard answer that he would be in jail or dead if he had not become a fighter, because his town in Dominican Republic is beset with serious social problems, and many people there have asked him to run for political office. How's that for a reversal? Harold Letterman, maybe you should run for political office, but first, tell us your unofficial score.
Okay, Jim, I got it 6-0, 60-54, Terence Crawford. You know, Jim, his fast hands are just murdering Diaz. It's amazing. The guy is so quick. Got that, I'm talking about Terence Crawford. Got that hard right jab, that fast left hand, that incredible uppercut. Look at that. He threw a right jab and snapped Diaz's head back. He's doing such a good job with those punches. Landed punch after punch after punch. His movement is tremendous. 6-0, Terence Crawford.
Yeah, talk about a toolbox. What doesn't Terence Crawford have in that toolbox? The jab with both hands, southpaw and orthodox.
Oh, big left hand by Diaz. Best punch in several rounds. Crawford might have gotten a little too casual here. Diaz has come alive in round number 7. He waked himself up with that one big shot.
And now is Crawford's confidence and competitiveness, his, hubris here. Will he try to prove to Diaz that that shot did nothing to him and open himself up for more shots?
He just did by landing a good left uppercut to show Diaz that he's not as hurt as bad as it looks like he is.
Diaz actually is the worst for the wear. Crawford landed the better shots, but was shooken up temporarily by that right hook.
Crawford talking to Diaz as they go shoulder to shoulder in there. Diaz with the left, and Crawford with another sizzling right hook.
A sizzling body shot. That's what caused the problem.
Oh, those body shots from Crawford just then.
And right when you think you got him hurt, he attacks you with bigger punches.
These are the exchanges I was talking about earlier in the night. Diaz eventually hits Crawford. Crawford wants to come right back, and you get this.
Well, this is Diaz's best round in the fight. And if Crawford follows his career pattern, Diaz will pay a price for having scored as well as he has here in round number 7.
Oh, he's paid the price. Now the question is, can he make Crawford pay an even bigger one? Crawford seems to me to be the kind of fighter, Roy, where you're going to have to separate him from his senses with one shot to get him in a fight like this. He's not going to just let you take the play away.
No, he's not. Not at all. And he's smart because he remembers to go to the body. Right when you get him, when you think you get him hurt, he remembers to go to the body. Most guys don't.
I love to watch Steve Willis plant himself right at the epicenter of the action where he has the closest view the referee can get.
How are you? Breathe.
Hey.
Let me work. Let me work.
Felix.
Felix.
Ok, ahí está, ya lo quitaste, chingada. Vamos.
Felix, come on, you heard him.
Hey, ya miraste que sí se puede.
You saw you could do it.
Ok, dime que ya sentiste lo que
Now
se
tell
siente
me you
trabajar.
understood. You understood you
Ok,
have to
ahora
work.
párate, pero no nomás
So let's go.
ir para adelante trabajando.
You gotta press. You gotta work. You gotta work.
Quiero que vayas para enfrente, pero soltando esos pinches.
Here you see Diaz come back after Crawford tried that left hand right jab again. He countered with a beautiful overhand left. Best punch he's been able to land all night. He still paid a price to land the punch, but he did sacrifice and get something back after getting caught with that right jab.
In that 7th round, Felix Diaz landed a fight-high 16 punches. He threw 63, his largest number thrown in the fight. Crawford was 18 out of 46. That was a heck of a round for both fighters.
Well, you saw that stare down at the end of the round. That was a world champion and a former Olympic gold medalist competing against each other, neither wanting to give an inch. That's when you get that special kind of action.
Funny now that you see the fight has changed. Terence Crawford is now the stalker. He's the taller guy who should be outside just boxing, and the short guy, Diaz, should be doing the stalking. But now Crawford is stalking because it's championship time to him. And plus the fact that he got caught with a big punch last round. Oh, good left hand counter by Crawford.
Great combination by Crawford. While they continue to fight here in round number 8, will once again update the Jonathan Maciello situation. We have been told by people who are in the emergency room at Bellevue and can see what's going on that Maciello is conscious and communicating with doctors. It appears that he is being treated for a concussion, but nothing more severe than that at this point.
Crawford really landing some heavy shots in this round.
Yeah, that was that right jab again.
And the difference in this fight, as is usually the case when you have a fighter on Crawford's level versus a level below, is Crawford's able to land combinations precisely upstairs in the middle of the ring. Not just one shot at a time, but 3 and 4. Diaz, when he has success, it's generally with a right hand, and then Crawford's able to cover.
Stop.
When referees become enormously popular in boxing, it isn't necessarily always because they are great referees, but because they have something in the way of a personal style that's entertaining to watch. Steve Willis is as entertaining to watch as any referee currently working in boxing, and the level of his assignments tells you that the New York State Athletic Commission also believes he's a very good referee, but he's highly unusual in his intensity, the way he positions himself, the facial expressions that he brings. He's involved in the fight much more than some other referees appear to be.
Yes, but that's all based on a foundation where he makes good judgments. You know, he shows his discretion. His judgment is sound, almost always. Good right hook from Crawford.
Oh, that hurt him. That hurt Diaz bad.
Yep.
Good body shot by Crawford.
1 or 2 more of those to the body, Roy. I think he's more hurt by that left hand to the body.
He is, Max. He wants to go down for that body shot. Oh, good hook by Diaz.
Competitor.
Willis wraps his arms around Diaz to protect him from one more shot after the bell. You're looking at Julius Ndongo. Julius Ndongo is from the nation of Namibia in Africa, and within the past year, he has scored 2 stunning upset victories to capture the other 2 140-pound title belts. By other 2, I mean that Terence Crawford has 2 140-pound title belts. Because Ndongo has now collected the other 2, Crawford, if he chooses to fight Ndongo, would have a chance for a rare feat in acquiring all 4 of the belts in the division. It hasn't happened since back in the day in the middleweight division when Jermaine Taylor took all 4 belts away from Bernard Hopkins. Roy Jones?
And he'd be one step closer with landing beautiful uppercuts just like that really hurt Diaz. I think Diaz's knees are starting to weaken, or legs are starting to weaken a little bit now. That was a beautiful, picture-perfect left uppercut while Diaz was coming in.
So just to make the point, Ndongo is here because Crawford and his promoters are looking at the possibility of fighting Ndongo and trying to acquire the other 2 belts in the 140-pound weight class. And Max Kellerman, it happens so rarely in boxing, it would be another feather in Crawford's cap.
Yep, the belts are still important to the fighters, and I would say for people to, good left hand from Crawford.
Diaz in trouble again.
Diaz was in trouble a couple times in the last round and again here. I would say you think about boxing with the belts the way you would think about college football before the national championship game over the last several years, which is to say that it's like winning a bowl game. Doesn't necessarily mean you're the best in the division, but it's a nice thing to do. And of course, if you could somehow win all the bowl games, there would be very little doubt that you're the best in the world. One
of the things that makes Canelo Triple G such an enormously attractive fight and important for the sport is that Canelo still holds what is called the lineal middleweight championship, while Triple G has 3 belts.
Meaning, the lineal meaning he's the man who beat the man who beat the man.
And that man was Miguel Cotto, after Miguel Cotto beat Sergio Martinez. And it was an oddity because really, Martinez, Cotto, and Canelo Alvarez at that time, all 3 were basically 154-pound fighters functioning in the middleweight division.
And to your point about lineal, and this looks like it could be coming to a close before too long, the way Crawford's dishing out this punishment. Martinez beat Pavlik, who beat Jermaine Taylor, who you mentioned, beat Bernard Hopkins, who'd beaten everybody.
Diaz has thrown only 8 punches now here with 1 minute and 15 to go in round 9. So he's slowed down considerably in the last couple rounds. Roy, you made the point in the last round that big shot may have been the beginning of the end for Diaz, and now Crawford is carefully selecting the power shots that he lands to try to bring this to the close.
Yeah, because Diaz is 161 pounds. He's still dangerous and he's very heavy. So Crawford is very smart. You can't just run in there on him any kind of way. A dangerous animal is a wounded animal is a very dangerous animal. So
I don't think the animal can see so well either.
He can't.
And Crawford's taking advantage of it.
And as Steve Willis showed in the Gennady Golovkin-David Lemieux fight, he won't allow the punishment to continue just for the sake of spectator appeal. He will protect fighters from unnecessary damage.
And right now they managed to protect Diaz from himself, as he's taking a pretty bad thrashing here.
Yeah.
Diaz trying to put up one last burst, going hard at Crawford as he came out of the corner. 10 seconds to go in round 9. It's been a really rough one for Felix Diaz.
See what Diaz's corner has to say in between rounds.
Well, on June 17 is the highly anticipated rematch between Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev. In November, Ward won a controversial decision to take the light heavyweight championship. Now they meet again live on HBO pay-per-view. And if you want to learn more about Ward and Kovalev, including their takes on what happened in that first fight, tune in to 24/7, premiering June 2.
I don't want you to get hit. We can't win the fight this way. If you don't show me that you dominate this round, I'm going to stop the fight, okay? Okay. There's no need to take so many punches. Bastard, come on. I told you already. Hey, we're down.
Here you see Crawford land a beautiful overhand left at the beginning of the round. That took all the fight out of Diaz for that particular round, I think. He backed up right there, didn't seem to want no more action. That shot hurt him pretty bad. But Diaz is very game.
I got to say, I understand why his corner would send him back out, but to tell you the truth, it's not necessary.
There's no point.
Oh.
The athletic contest has been decided, and it's possible he does something miraculous, but so unlikely that it's probably not worth the risk here.
And when you see him come out moving backwards like that, it lets you know that he doesn't really think he can do anything miraculous.
The doctors made a decision that he can see, so therefore he can go back into the ring. But Harold Letterman, he's got no chance to win.
No, Jim. 9-0, 90-81, Terence Crawford. And in the 9th round, I'm telling you, the guy wanted to quit the entire 3 minutes. They should stop the fight.
Yeah, Crawford, you know, they're fighters. You mentioned Bernard Hopkins, Jim, who accumulated small advantages like a chess master throughout the fight, and they added up throughout the fight to a wide win for Hopkins. Crawford does that, but more than that, he studies his opponent, figures out exactly how to beat him up, and after a couple rounds just starts to beat the hell out of him, and that's what happened here tonight.
Well, he's more aggressive and he punches more. His punches are much more powerful pound for pound wise than Hopkins' punches were. Hopkins beat you up, but nothing was going to one punch knock you out like that.
It's not just that Crawford accumulates small advantages, it's that he figures out how to exploit big ones, and he does it, you know, before even the middle rounds begin.
If he had more devastating one-punch power, that would be more merciful. He beats fighters up, breaks them down, ruins their careers.
He got one-punch power. This guy's 161. That's why he's taking it. If he was 140 or 145, he would be down too.
Yeah, here's another scary thing about Crawford. As he's risen in weight, he's shown increasing power. You know, the question is sometimes does a fighter take his punch up with him in weight class? He's now humiliating Diaz.
And Steve Willis basically says to Crawford, look, you don't need to humiliate him like that. Fight straight up.
But Crawford has, it's not just that he carried his punch up, it's he's actually a better puncher in a higher weight division.
When you see a guy who has the proper technique, Max, no matter how much weight he gains or loses, he's still going to be a great puncher because he punches with proper technique. Terence Crawford is one of those guys that has the proper technique from the left side and the right side.
And so the additional weight, he must have been killing himself to make 135 pounds.
Of course he was. We saw that. He can make 147 right now as we see. He's 157 tonight.
The additional weight means his physical strength comes out and increase, you know, with a good technique.
Felix
punch
Diaz
power
has
showed
landed
up.
only 4 punches in this round. It was pointless to send him back out here. Other than to further shorten his career.
Oh, good shot by Crawford. Oh. Felix Diaz is a one-game fighter, though. He's not quitting.
They're not going to let him out for the next round.
And there's the stern look on the face of the Diaz family.
Yeah.
As they stand at ringside, and now Joel Diaz waving the white towel, and we're done. Technical knockout victory for Terence Crawford at the end of round number 10.
Guys, Lamont Peterson's a good fighter. Diaz had a really tough fight with Peterson. That's Diaz's only loss. Diaz won a gold medal and had a competitive spirit and landed a few shots early, but was no match for Terence Crawford.
Who is? In the 140-pound weight class, there isn't anybody. Everybody wants to see what happens when he moves up to welterweight. First, he might fight Julius Indongo to get the 4 belts in the 140-pound weight class, and then if he can do that, maybe he goes to welterweight. People are still talking about the possibility, because they share a promoter, of a fight with Manny Pacquiao. I don't think that Pacquiao is going to be any more eager to fight Crawford after what took place here tonight than was the case in the last several months leading into this, when the possibility existed for Pacquiao if that's what he wanted to do. He's choosing to fight a guy named Horn in Australia instead.
I agree, and I think Crawford would be favored, but Pacquiao remains, even though he's not what he once was, a tremendous matchup for anyone. Even Floyd Mayweather admitted he had his hands full, and that was a very difficult fight for him. So that would be a tremendous matchup, Pacquiao-Crawford.
Well, Crawford certainly wants it. He has an ambition to become the #1 pound-for-pound guy, and that would be exactly the kind of name you want to get onto your resume. In the last 3 rounds, Terence Crawford landed 63 out of 98 power shots, and really, Roy Jones, he could have amped the volume up and done even more damage. He was selecting carefully those shots that he knew he could land.
He was being smart about it, because the guy's 161 pounds. You don't want to run in on a super middleweight and you're a junior lightweight or junior welterweight and just give up big shots. So he did a smart job of taking his time, using his accumulation of punches to the head and to the body to weaken the opponent, and then slowly just let things come to an end. Don't go try to push the envelope too much and give yourself up or give up a big shot.
31st consecutive win. That's his mother over here to the right of the screen in the black and white. Deborah, she's the #1 fan. 31st consecutive win, 22nd knockout. His skill is still amazing, and his power seems to be increasing with each passing fight, and this is the end.
Yeah, that was a good shot to the throat, followed by a beautiful right hook, followed by another left hand, straight left hand, followed by another right hook to the top of the head. He just was landing too many punches. Joel Diaz realized that and just called it off.
Crawford fought the entire fight in the southpaw stance. That's the first time we've seen that.
But I told you in the beginning of the fight, before the fight, that fighting a guy who won a gold medal as a southpaw was going to lead Crawford with his competitiveness to want to go out and show this guy that I'm better than you as a southpaw fighter.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the particulars on the TKO.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at Madison Square Garden, the challenger's corner indicates they can no longer continue. Referee Steve Willis calls a halt to the bout. Officially at the end of round 10, the winner by TKO victory and still unified WBO, WBC super lightweight champion of the world, the fighting pride of Omaha, Nebraska, USA, Terence Bud Crawford.
Like we always do with this, like we always do with this, like we always.
Final CompuBox numbers. Crawford landing 124 more.